going to call this meeting to order, and we have the minutes of March 22nd.
I'll move we approve the minutes of March 22nd.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we have warrants 20, the payroll 20P, and capital fund 11. And we could ratify 19R at the same time.
I'll move that we approve warrants 20 and 20P. Fund D11, is it?
Capital.
Fund 11, Capital Fund 11, and 19R.
I'll second it.
Okay, any
Which were those last two? I read all this stuff, but
The capital fund was the last payment on the fire truck,
got it, yep.
and the one that we're ratifying was so that we could get some discounts on, I think it was the Snell's bill.
Okay.
Okay, did we get a second on that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. All right, discussion. Okay, warrant 20 is for $26,904.27, and that was going to the sheriff's monthly contract, salt for the roads, fuel, payroll transfers. There was a bond payment on the gravel pit, and some electric and sundry supplies for the highway department. The capital fund, which Maria mentioned was the last payment on the last new fire truck, was for $65,528.99. So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's see. Under ARPA funding, apparently we authorized the outdoor furnace for the town garage and the covered bridge oak decking, but we didn't apparently say that it was going to come out of ARPA.
So I'll make a motion that we authorize the purchase of the outdoor furnace for the highway garage and the covered bridge oak decking to be paid with ARPA funds.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we have no visitors today.
Oh, okay, just on ARPA funding in general, can we get like a summary of where we are and how much?
I'll email it out.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, under the road foreman's report, I talked with Lee, and 3 of his crew are out every day cleaning up along the roads, broken trees and chipping, and 1 person is out on the grader. So he expects that to take a few more weeks. Let's see. That's pretty much keeping them busy for foreseeable future.
Yeah, they did Stickney Brook and Leonard Road and a couple of other roads out our way today.
Okay, good. Let's see. He spoke about structures, funds, and paving. He was thinking he'll come to us in another couple of weeks to ask to put out paving bids for the east-west road up to the village. So we can put that.
Good.
And
East-West Road up to,
where they left off the paving last year,
okay,
they're going to go, he hopes, up to the center of town.
center.
So that would be about, what, a mile and a half?
Yeah, and so he has what we passed in the budget, but he has 200,000 from the state
Yeah.
for paving that he can use over 3 years, so he's going to use a portion of that.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Under other road foreman's information, GMP is, Green Mountain Power is going to come on at our next meeting, April 19th, to talk about the past storm and their response and how we can make things better the next time around.
The trees that they cut down, that they had to take down to fix it, who was responsible for removing those that are now at the side of the road, various places?
I guess if they're in the town right of way,
Yeah, they would be, most.
Most of them.
So
But if
we're
they're
respon-
affecting power lines, Green Mountain Power does that work, don't they?
Well, what they did, for example, by me, is they cut down the tree, because it must have been, I think it was lining, and they put it over actually on the other side of the road, and it's sticking all the way out. I just was wondering, are we gonna leave it there?
that's what Lee's crew
Yeah, I was
is
gonna say, I
doing.
think it's-
Oh, the lease crews is actually doing that, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and their priority is east-west road right now.
yeah, okay.
Once they get done with that, they'll,
Yeah.
We made out pretty well. I drove down Guilford Street Extension, I think it was. I get those roads mixed up in Guilford, and half the trees were down in this one section, and it took them 4 days just to be able to get through. The power lines down, it was a mess.
okay. Any other road foreman issues? Okay, let's move on to correspondence and information. Is there anything there you'd like to discuss? That list. I have, let's see, under VLCT training and events, there's an open meeting law presentation on the 19th, our next meeting, at 10 a.m. in the morning. And I think that's going to be a webinar, so I was thinking I'd sign up for that. And then there's government finance on May 3rd at 9:30. So if anyone's interested in any of those,
I did the in-person Selectboard training
Yeah.
up in Randolph and found that very useful.
yes. Yeah, let Lori know and she can register whoever's interested with these.
Did you get everybody got the VLCT Connect, the new Connect, yeah,
The portal.
portal,
Yeah,
portal,
yeah.
to sign up for the
Took
portal.
me
Did you get?
I didn't notice that. If
Oh,
it
good. Kind of register, you have to sort of
Yeah,
sign in.
they talked
Yes.
about that.
So-
when I
and
was
then
up
they sent
there.
it in on Thursday of
Okay,
last week.
I'll look for that.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see, under correspondence for discussion and or action, no, we have nothing. So we move on to new business, and I think we don't have any other ARPA updates, do we?
No.
No. We do have at least one appointment to make tonight.
I'll make a motion to make the following appointment to the DV Communication Union District, David Evans as the alternate.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that takes care of all of our committee appointments for the time being.
Yes.
We still have openings on a lot of committees and commissions, and if anyone's interested, just let us know. Okay, all right. Next item is Terry Chapman has resigned from the Selectboard, and she's also the chair of the cemetery committee, and she has resigned from that. So technically, because she's an elected official, we don't need to vote, but she's appointed as a cemetery.
Right.
So we could have a motion to accept her resignations.
I move that, I'd like to make a motion that we accept Terry Chapman's resignations from the cemetery committee and from the select board.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Well,
I think we owe her a big thank you.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, she has
Absolutely,
carried a lot of weight
for a long time.
for, a long time. So, I'm very grateful for all the work that she took on.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Then, we have an open seat on the select board. So we need to post that. And then anyone who's interested in sending in a letter of interest, they can either mail us one to the town office, or they can send us an email at selectboard@dummerston.org, and we'll see who's interested and probably schedule time to talk with them, little chat like we do, and so we'll go from there. I'll ask Lori to post the opening tomorrow. I sent a message to the Views to see if we could still get that in on the Views this next.
So when there's an opening, when there's a resignation, then the select board appoints somebody for the remainder of the term, or until the next meeting,
Only till town meeting.
until the town meeting, yeah.
But that's when Terry's term
Would have been up
expires
anyway.
anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so that's what we do. So anyone interested, let us know.
Do we want to make a
Oh.
deadline of when we want to, like, would we like to make an appointment by the next meeting?
April 19th. If we wanted to have time to, if our mailbag is full, we might want to schedule a time to start meeting with people. So
Mhm.
maybe the first,
The
One
first one in
May.
May?
Yeah.
Okay.
let's have that. Anyone have other thoughts on that? Okay. Well, let's see. Okay. There's a Act 250 appeal on Maple Valley, or Sugar Mountain as it's known now.
Right.
And you put that on the agenda, so.
Yeah, so, Sugar Mountain Holdings got their Act 250 permit with two conditions that make the viability of the business questionable. So they've appealed those two conditions, and there's a trial coming up with the Vermont Environmental Court, I think it's May 11th and 12th, and I think it's virtual. It might be hybrid. And if it's hybrid, I'm not sure where the in-person part would be. I had hoped to be able to attend that, but I'm actually going to be in Minneapolis at a conference when that happens, so I don't think I'll be able to participate. It's possible I could still participate remotely. But I wanted to get a sense of whether the select board felt we should have a voice in that. We do have statutory party status, being a town. And, do we want to have someone at that trial and provide testimony about, what this means for the town? Do we want to submit something in writing, a statement of some sort? I don't really know what is normal. I have personal feelings about it that, we've seen some regulatory overreach by the district commission, and I personally feel that having something happen to that facility would be good for the town, particularly after, I've met with Key and Oars a number of times, initially about energy stuff when I was, from the Energy Committee. And in the course of conversations, I talked with him about the idea of a coffee shop in addition to sort of evening tasting room activities. And he warmed up to that idea and is now apparently quite enthusiastic about it. And I see it as a space that Dummerston residents could get together. Right now, I think the town suffers from not having a gathering place, where you can chat with neighbors, talk about select board appointments or whatever the going concerns are. So I feel that it would be a shame if the project folds because of onerous conditions that make the economic viability of the business untenable. So I don't know where others of you stand with that.
So personally, I agree with you on a personal level, but historically, we've never necessarily either endorsed or not endorsed private projects as a board.
Okay.
And that's sort of, personally, I think it's a wonderful, they should be able to, proceed with their projects, but to sit here, I feel like it's historically, it would set a bad precedent. We'd be expected to sort of weigh in on every private project.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way of inputting that would not be viewed in that way? That we don't oppose. I'm just trying to think of, is there any way we could help the project along without breaking without creating a precedent, breaking the precedent?
The DRB did unanimously endorse it.
Exactly.
And, didn't have any opposition that was expressed apparently.
This has been going on for a couple
For
of years
years,
now,
yeah.
so I've lost track of what two conditions they're appealing right now.
Yeah, so one of them is outdoor music. That's being contested as, I forget what the term they used, just outrageously offensive or something. But anyway, so outdoor music was one of them. Shocking and offensive was the term in the permit denial or the condition. And then the other is parking on the river side of Route 30, where there has historically been parking. And I guess the issue is the buffer, the wetlands buffer, where you measure that. And the applicant wants to measure it from one place, and a couple of environmental groups want to measure it from the top of the slope and coming in 100 feet, which would take up virtually the entire parking. So, I'm not sure, but those are the two conditions as I understand them. I think the compliance with the town plan wasn't appealed. I think that's fine. And I, years ago went to concerts there. They had when our kids were young, they had a teddy bear picnic, which was great. And the music, historically at least, always faced uphill away from, where people live. I heard Emmylou Harris there once back in the days. Great concert. Anyway, but I understand your position, and I wasn't really sure what role a select board plays.
I know the Conservation Commission has been,
They,
they've been following it pretty closely. I don't know what stance they've been taking though.
yes, they think they had party status.
Yes, they did. Yes.
I mean, it's a shame for that space to be left unused for all this
It
time,
is.
you know?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I can see not wanting to get involved in every single Act 250.
Right.
Is this of a nature that it's pretty big? I mean, there are not very many projects that would be this big in our community. Does that make it different, site different from?
Everybody's gonna think their project is important and big.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Yeah. Right.
could we check with the Conservation Commission and see if they've weighed in at all? That may be the approach to take is through them.
That's a good idea.
And is the planning commission,
No, we haven't gotten involved in it.
haven't done it? No. Okay.
And the DRB has signed off.
Oh, they
They
unanimously,
issued a permit.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe you would call Christine and since you have all of the information about Mark, then
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Ready to move on?
And try to report back at our next
Sure.
meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, and the hearing, or is it a trial or?
A trial, they call it a trial.
So the sense of the board, and perhaps we want to reflect this in minutes, is it favorable, would we put that in, favorably inclined towards the project? Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, well, thanks for bringing that up.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. The opioid settlement deadline to sign up is fast approaching. And I guess I don't have my notes with me, but there are two different ways we could go. And the amount that Dummerston would probably get out of this settlement is about $500 or less, which isn't enough to do some of the items that are suggested on their list. So for communities under 10,000 in population, if they forego doing a town settlement, then it would go into the regional settlement or the county. And so did you happen to chat?
I didn't, you suggested I reach out to the rescue, and I didn't get a chance to do
I
that.
just wondered if on the more regional level, they might be able to use this $500 more than
Yeah,
what we can do.
I think when it first came up, this isn't the first time we've talked about it. I wanna say it was probably a year ago,
Okay,
year and a half ago, and I think that's kind of what we had decided,
okay.
that it wasn't,
Oh,
it just was
I'm
not,
glad we're consistent.
yeah.
So is that the sense of?
I mean, is it the kind of funding that would be used for buying Narcan pills or inhalers, whatever they use for that we would give to the West Dummerston Volunteer Fire Department or something like that? You know,
I think if we,
or can they get them
they
other
might be able
ways?
to get them through a regional or county-wide.
I would hope they have them.
Yeah.
I just happened to hear a program on the radio about
Yeah.
Narcan
Oh,
today,
yeah.
and it was quite interesting.
Right,
It's a lifesaver.
right, that was the one thing that seemed like it was within the reach of $500. I'll look into this a little bit more and we'll see if I can come up with any other information. But for right now, our inclination is to go with the
The county.
settlement. And I guess that's the default if we, unless we take steps. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. We have discussion on the fire truck purchase. And let's see, the voters at on the Australian ballot for town meeting approved up to 500,000 for a new fire truck, a tanker truck. And that 500,000 was based on a conversation we had with the fire department during our budget planning that had a price of 460,000 for a truck. And so we, because we have to include interest payments, we put on the warning up to 500,000, thinking that would cover most of the interest, if not all. And then it was overwhelmingly approved, and they got in touch with the company that will build the new fire truck and found that the price had increased by about 40,000. So not enough of a buffer for any interest payments. So so one way of doing this would be to call a special town meeting where voters could approve additional funds for the interest payments, or to cover the interest payments. There was some discussion that a select board has some discretion to move funds around, but I don't think we have the sort of budget where we can just move 60,000 from the highway department and not have that be a big deal. So what do people think?
Well, I'm wondering whether we have some leeway with the ARPA funds and whether there are enough funds remaining in that pool of money to appropriate $50,000 out of that fund toward the fire truck. I did look into the guidance with that funding, and fire trucks are specifically mentioned as an example of a type of funding that it can be used for. I read the letter from the guy at the company E1, was it? Whoever was building the truck, that prices have been going up 1% a month. And I was worried about delaying a few months to get a special town meeting going. He did come back $10,000 less from that $499 price. So if we have the ARPA funds available, I think we should consider appropriating some of that for this fire truck to save the hassle of a special town meeting and the delay in price escalation that may result from delaying. So what do others think about that?
This is, if we were to do that, then it would mean that other projects would not be funded through ARPA, so we lose some of that. And already the fire department has gotten a significant amount of money from ARPA.
Yep, that's true.
So those would be my thoughts on that.
How much did they get, do you remember? I wasn't on the select board then. They got new garage doors, I think, and
A generator.
Yeah.
They've gotten, let's see, they did lighting for $16,905, bay doors for $17,352, pagers for $63.75, And a generator for 15,000,
55,000.
roughly, yeah.
We already have 55. If they get this 50, that means they would they would be getting 20% of the total ARPA funding.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
I don't feel that good about that.
No, I don't either. And I think the taxpayers, I mean, they approved up to $500,000 and now we're gonna go back and ask for, I don't know how much we're gonna ask for, but let's say we're gonna ask for another 80,000 or 100,000, whatever it is we come up with that we feel comfortable with any price increasing. Would they be so inclined to wanna spend $600,000 on a fire truck? I'm not so sure. And by doing it through the ARPA, we've taken that option away from them.
Yep.
the ARPA is specific in that it's not to be used for interest payments on equipment.
Mhm.
And if this was at the beginning of the process, then, putting some ARPA funds in would seem okay under their regulations. But because we're now looking for the interest payments, or the money to cover the interest payments, trying to use the ARPA funds for that doesn't seem like it's following the letter of their regulations. And so I think we have to be accountable for that.
I would think if we appropriated ARPA funds that could be considered part of the capital cost, it wouldn't have to be considered interest, but I hear what others, what the other concerns that are raised.
Okay. So that leads us back to a special town meeting. So we have to warn that at least 30 days ahead. We could schedule that for, let's see, that would be, put us in the middle of May. And set this, is it 17?
17?
Yeah. And what do people think about having an in-person meeting?
I think so.
Well, I mentioned I won't be
you're not
away
gonna be
on the 17th. So you would still go ahead, obviously, without.
Okay.
What's the date after that? Do we have, we're trying to do it on the same Wednesday that we have a regular meeting.
Right, but we don't necessarily have to,
Right.
and I don't have my calendar.
The next one will be May 31st.
And that's, May 31st is somewhere around Memorial Day, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's the Wednesday after Memorial Day.
Wednesday.
And then I think the one meeting after that is Swedish Constitution Day, so
Oh,
I mean,
no.
everyone's gonna be out of town that day.
Well, how strongly would you like to be here, David?
I don't necessarily feel very strongly about it.
Okay.
No.
You're okay with,
I'll be okay.
okay,
I'll trust you guys.
okay.
So May 17th?
May 17th, 7 PM, I think. That may be, 7 PM is what we need for public hearings, I think, but also,
Yeah. Now, because it's a special town meeting, will you contact Cindy Jerome, town
yes,
moderator?
I had made a note.
Okay.
Cindy Jerome, let's see, I'll get in touch with the Views. If we approve it, we'll ask Lori to post it.
Mhm.
We could do it in person, we could do it here.
Mhm.
Generally, the largest turnout I can remember at a special town meeting was about 35 people, including the select board.
Mhm.
So I think we could do okay here, and
I think so.
by May 17th, we can have the windows and doors open.
Mhm.
Um, How much should we ask for? Because we have to warn this.
Mhm.
And we could do up to, rather than,
100.
That was
So
what I
it's
was gonna
600.
say. That's
Oh,
what I was-
100 additional.
Yes. Well, we don't know if there's gonna, there
yeah,
could have already been price increases
Yeah.
since this came out in the end of March.
I think I need a door open, window open right now, I think I better. Okay, well, up to doesn't mean we,
Yeah, right.
so that sound okay?
Mhm.
All right, what other bits and pieces? I guess that's all right, if someone wants to make a motion, I think.
Do we want to make it clear in that, that's not a purchase price of what would be $600,000, but that's a price that includes, $60,000 or $70,000 worth of interest or whatever it would work out to be. Just so there word doesn't get out that, we're looking for a $600,000 fire truck.
Well, it is a 600.
It is, yeah,
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
Interest is
Yeah,
part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
or hopefully a little less than 600.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be over 500, which is what the
Without a
voters
doubt,
had approved.
yeah.
So,
well, we already know that it's gonna be over 570,000, roughly.
Yeah.
okay.
But I'm afraid if we ask for less,
Oh,
and there's been increases, then we're back to square one.
right. So,
And this, actually, we have to do this probably in May so that it can actually go on the tax bills,
right,
so.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yes, I spoke to Lori, town clerk, about the timing of this, and she felt later in May, like what we're doing would be good, because the word could get out more, and we'd have the chance of it getting in the views.
Right.
So it's not just people watching the show here or getting the email from know about it, so. Okay.
Good. Great. I'd like to make a motion that we, at the special town meeting on May the 17th, we request an additional $100,000 or a total of $600,000 for the purchase and interest payments on the new fire truck.
I've got some questions.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. Let's see, do we want to have up to?
Yeah, I think up
Yes.
to should
Pardon,
go in those.
yes, we did, and I meant to say.
Okay, and 500 has already been, up to 500 has already been approved, so are we looking for an additional 100,000?
So up to an additional 100,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So, and to be held here.
Yes, okay.
And it'll be at 6 PM,
7 p.m.
7 PM.
Okay,
Do you want me to write that article up and then I'll send it to you? Because it would have to be an article, technically, it's a special town meeting.
right. Okay, we'll approve it now, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we need it written up and then signed.
Yes, yep.
Okay, great. So we have.
But we could, but if I send it to you, because, well, I guess we do have some time, but not before our next meeting to get it posted for 30 days.
Right, okay.
So that's why I'm saying, if I send it to you,
Yep.
then at least Lori can get it posted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
Otherwise, we haven't fallen, we're less than 30 days.
okay, good,
So,
good catch.
okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Great, and I'll get in touch with Cindy Jerome, our moderator, and hope that she's available May 17th.
Great.
Okay, ready to move on? Let's see. Okay, the Conservation Commission sent us a memorandum of understanding regarding the covered bridge steps, some monitoring and maintenance that we asked for. Everyone,
Looked fine to me.
I thought it was a good memo, yeah.
okay. I don't think we need to take any action.
No.
Okay, well, that brings us to the fun part of our meeting.
Yep, so I'll make a motion that we recess the meeting and convene as the Liquor Control Board.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's see. We have a liquor and tobacco license renewal for Circle K on Route 30.
I'll make a motion that we approve the liquor and tobacco license renewal for Circle K on Route 30.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'll let Lori know.
And I'll make a motion that we adjourn as the Liquor Control Board and reconvene the meeting.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Here we are, back as the select board, and we have that GoFundMe question that we started at our last meeting. Some people would like to use a GoFundMe campaign to raise some money to set up some lights and a warming shed and some skates that kids can borrow, or maybe adults too. And the question was, how do we go about doing that? Where does the money go? I haven't heard from Maeve. I sent a message to Maeve, but haven't heard from her.
I'd like to hear from the rec board,
Yeah,
you know. I mean, I'm not necessarily in favor or opposed or whatever, but I mean, we have a board in town and ultimately it's gonna be their responsibility and we haven't heard from them.
okay,
So table it,
Mhm.
go next.
okay, and I'll send another email. Or if I can find her phone number, I'll call her. With a two-person rec board.
No, she's the only one on the rec board.
Oh, boy, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, she's probably pretty busy. But let's see, when we asked VLCT, or I asked VLCT about how to go about setting up an account, if that was to happen, it seemed like they could add a checking account as part of the recreation board.
That was the impression I got from the email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if the recreation board has no objection to going ahead with this, then I would suggest we let Charlotte.
Yeah, and as long as it doesn't create more headaches for Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was my main concern,
Yeah.
you know, sort of levels of complexity.
right. I think this would be the easiest for her, but I'll check with her on that before. So we'll table it to them and hopefully get word back from the recreation board. Okay? Great. Is there any other new business?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay.